I love this conversation I'm going to share with you today. It's with one of my favorite people, David Baker, who's the CIO for Pacific Dental. And prior to being the CIO for Pacific Dental, David worked for me as the VP of really experience, both internal and external, for our consumers at St. Joseph's Health. And David really is able to get his finger on the pulse of what the user community is looking for and delivering on that. Have a listen to this short video. Not the best quality. It was the first live episode we ever did. But if you listen through it, I think you'll pick up some things, and I'll be back in a minute to talk.
You approach everything, internal and external, through the lens of the consumer. So you have internal consumers, you have external consumers. What are some other use cases where you've I'm going to take you back, force you back here. So I think one of the most impressive projects I actually take some credit for, I really shouldn't take any credit, it was really you, was this 60 back.
Okay.
You remember 60 back?
Remember it well.
So talk about 60 back, because I think every healthcare CIO should initiate a 60 back project tomorrow. So talk a little bit.
So it started really back in the day when we were, how many minutes can we get clinicians back, right, on their day? Because they were like manually logging on. Sucky experience. So number one, go and spend time out of the ivory tower and make sure you're in there on the shop floor with the customer. Right? You know that we will spend many a night in the ED and seeing where we can improve lives and workflows. So we demonstrated to every one of our clinicians we were able to give them 15 minutes back on their day every day through some of the single sign-on and badge and go technologies, and that was way back. But I apply that to every situation to this day. I go in first and foremost, let me look for a problem first, rather than assume people have got a problem. Speak to people, interview people, spend a lot of time in the offices just looking at this stuff. And that was to say, I think this one, the difference was while we were looking for problems still out in the hospital floor, you set the challenge of, if you did 15, you should be able to double that. And I'm like, maybe. And you're like, why don't we start with 60 back? And then 60 back was full. So the challenge was, how do we get 60 minutes back a day, every day, to the caregivers? And so it spawned from there.
So I don't know if you picked up on this, but 60 back was the project, and it was the project of giving 60 minutes back to the physicians. It's a result of David's rounding at a specific hospital, and they said, look, you guys in IT have taken so much of our time. We want some of that time back. And David said, okay, that's the problem I need to solve. And the thing I want you to hear, the so what is, solve the problems they want you to solve. Be relevant. This is how you are relevant, is you round, you listen, you identify the core problem, and you address that problem. And David did that by creatively coming up with this program called 60 Back, collaboratively with the physicians and the clinicians within that hospital. They gathered, they found some very challenging ways to get time back and some very simple ways to get time back. The printer example, which I don't think he shared in this video, but the printer example is amazing. You know, that essentially the ED identified that the printers were in the wrong place. If they just moved the printers, it would give them 5 minutes back every day. And we added a printer. So we added one printer, cost of maybe $500, and we repositioned the printers, cost of almost nothing. And we were able to give these clinicians 5 minutes back in their day, and off you go towards that 60 minutes. So listen to identify the problems that people want you to solve, and then make yourself relevant by solving those specific problems. Great way to move forward in your career.